Chase, I don't know if you're talking, you're muted.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Smart With Your Money Live. I am Chase Peckham. I am the Director of Community Outreach and Education at the San Diego Financial Literacy Center, the education arm of DebtWave Credit Counseling. And this week, we are excited to talk about groceries. And like every Smart With Your Money Live, I am joined by my cohort, Felipe Arevalo, who is our coordinator. And Felipe, this is a fun one. I am terrible at this. My wife doesn't even let me go to the grocery store because of how bad I am at this. And this is your cup of tea, man. This is where you thrive.
It really is. And you know what? I was terrible at it too. And I've really worked at it. You know, this is the one thing I've learned the most about personal finances in my personal life due to the pandemic and everything is grocery shopping and making sure that I don't go as often as I used to, where I was going to the grocery store multiple times a week. And you know, this is something I've been working at, my grocery adventures. So I'm glad we'll be able to share some of the tips here with you guys.
You know, what's really funny is we're on vacation right now. I'm on the East Coast, and a surprise for my daughter was we were going to pick up her aunt and uncle, my wife's brother and his wife. And to surprise them, they said they sent me to the grocery store because it wouldn't be uncommon for me to take a very long time at the grocery store, which is not a good thing for the budget. And that's why I think this is going to be so fun today.
Yeah, the grocery store should not be your hangout spot. That's a bonus tip.
Yeah.
Well, first things first, with so many things, personal finances is set a grocery budget. And it can vary slightly. It doesn't have to be set in stone because groceries, you know, can fluctuate from one time to another, but set a budget and you know, adjust it as need be, but have an idea of how much you're going to spend at the grocery store and then try and stay within those limits.
Yeah, it's pretty astounding how often I go and I just all of a sudden something piques my interest. And I just, next thing you know, I bought a bunch of stuff that wasn't even on my list.
Yeah. Or you get the idea for a meal like, oh, I haven't made that in a while. And now you've added 5 things into your cart, which kind of brings us to the next one. Make a grocery list. Write down everything you're going to buy at the grocery store and then stick to your list. Because I know I'm guilty of making a grocery list and then, you know, in the grocery store saying, you know, I think I forgot to add blank, and then putting it on the list so that I can cross it off as I put it in the shopping cart. It shouldn't work that way. I've gotten better at it now.
It's so similar to the other things that we want to do when we want to be organized, right? Is you can be organized with your life outside of the grocery shopping, but the grocery shopping is how we nourish ourselves, right? But we don't think of it that way. We go in and we just go, oh, that looks delicious. Oh, I want that. I want that, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Making a list is so important because if you stick to it, one, you're going to eat healthier probably, and you're going to, that budget or the finances, it's going to be way less.
Yeah. And it's something where you can make it a family thing. That's something I've gotten better at doing is it's not my grocery list, it's our grocery list. And this goes down to the kids as well. I tell my 7-year-old, if you finish something and you don't, you finish your Go-Gurts or you finish something that you go grab yourself a snack, your string cheese, whatever, and you don't tell me, or you don't go add it to the list, I don't know that you finished it. So guess what? I'm going to miss it this week and you're going to have to wait a whole nother week before we go and replenish that for you. You know, and I tell them groceries tomorrow. What do you guys need? Let me know. I'll put it on the list. I even let my 2-year-old play along last time and he bought himself chocolate pudding. All
right.
It was more for fun, like let him browse through, like, what do you want? And he said this. So I got him low fat, no sugar chocolate pudding. That's what you picked, buddy. That's what you get.
Tasty.
Yeah, I know. He didn't even pick the good stuff. And then which brings us to limit your visits. The grocery list will help you do this because you've organized what you need and you don't forget things. If you follow the grocery list and you check them off as you go, you know, you're not going to forget milk and then have to go back in the middle of the week to get milk. And then how many times you go into the grocery store and you're thinking, I'm just going to run in real quick and grab one thing. But
Yeah, that never
how many times
happens.
do you really run out with just the one item?
Yeah, never. It's like going to Costco for under $100.
Right.
It's really hard to
It
do.
doesn't happen. And if you do happen to go back in, bonus tip here, if you do happen to go into the grocery store for one item, don't grab a shopping cart. Unless your one item is like a 50-pound bag of dog food, you don't grab a shopping cart. Grab yourself your one item, your carton of milk. You can carry it in your hands. And that way, you might get, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool too. But there's only so much you can carry. Uh, so if you don't have a cart to add more things to it because you're only there for the one item, that could be a little saver thing, because now you're sitting there at the grocery store looking at the 10 for 10 deal on canned soup, at telling yourself, I can't carry that.
Right.
Even if I wanted to, I can't carry it out.
And I'm guilty of this. We go far when we're not together. We would go far too often. You should go once a week and just plan out your week for food. And a lot of people don't like, but I'm not sure what I'm going to want on Thursday. But if you plan it out, chicken one night, maybe, vegan something or other night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really good for health too. I mean, as far as planning out your meals.
And you get better at it after you do it for a while. It becomes a habit like anything else.
Right.
And at first I was asking myself, like, how am I going to do this? I always go back for more. And you get used to it and you start getting creative and you're like, okay, oh, look, I do have an old, and it keeps your pantry or your cupboards clean. You're like, oh, I do have an old marinara sauce in there. I just wasn't looking hard enough. And instead of going and buying
4
another
years
one,
ago.
well, that too. But after the initial, we did spring cleaning the last SWYM live, so hopefully everyone got their cupboards cleaned.
That's right. Everything's cleaned out.
If you missed it, it's on Facebook, it's on YouTube. But after that initial cleaning, you might have stuff in there, and you can avoid them going bad because you just, oh, I don't have any marinara, or oh, I don't have any of this, and you just maybe weren't looking hard enough.
That's been the most difficult thing for my kids, is because they always feel like they want to make up their mind what they want to eat that day. And it can't work that way. You're just going to eat what we make, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah. You mentioned Costco and being out of there under $100. That never happens because you get 2 things or 3 things or 4 things and you're over.
Because everything's either $9.99 or $14.99.
Right. But, or more.
Or more, $12.99.
Yeah, exactly. But buy bulk when convenient.
Absolutely.
Obviously, if you're going to have a hard time finishing the things before they go bad, you don't want to waste, because that's waste of money as well, that if you're having to toss things out because you didn't get around to eating them in time. But if you have the space, if you have the ability to do it, buy the things that won't go bad in bulk, or the things you use regularly in bulk. And you could save a lot of money that way.
You can.
You just got to be prepared for that initial big purchase.
Well, especially when you talk about Costco, and if you're a meat eater and you like chicken, or, they have really, really good deals that, but you have to freeze it, right? Because otherwise there's no way you can eat it all. So if you have enough room in that freezer,
or be ready to eat chicken 4 days, 5 days straight.
That much to my wife's chagrin. No way.
Oh, I got away with it for a little at the beginning of the stay at home, but eventually, wife and kids are like, chicken tacos again?
No more chicken.
I'm like, we put different toppings. I'd use different seasoning. At the end of the day, they were still chicken tacos, and they were done with them. So, buy in bulk when convenient. Eat before you go shopping.
Yes, never go to the store, Costco, anything hungry. That is the worst thing, especially when you go by the frozen food section.
Yeah, because those all look so tasty.
Talk about taking up space in your freezer, for one, those big old things. And typically, if it's frozen, and it's not going to be very good for you, right?
Right.
And those are the things that'll really bust your budget.
Yeah. And
I always come home with 1 or 2 that my wife goes, what is this?
And then I'm sitting there, we could put them in the air fryer, and it might make them a little better. And it will make them a little better, but they're still not better.
It'll make it a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. They're still not better for you.
We love our air fryer, huh? We're going to do a show just on how to prepare food in the air fryer.
On air fryer. We can do a whole podcast episode on it too.
It's healthy and it tastes great.
Right. But don't go in hungry. And I see it all the time on social media, like, oh, I shouldn't have gone in hungry. Especially if they're going to start feeding you little samples. Because how many times they say, oh, it's right here in the refrigerator behind me or in the freezer behind me. And then you go, oh, and it's on sale, $1
Yeah.
off. And then you end up with like bean and cheese burritos or for little frozen pizzas or whatever it is. And you weren't there for that.
My sister-in-law was just telling me the story about her husband comes home with the craziest things. Like he buys stuff and then doesn't even eat them, but they look good at the time, which is just a
Oh,
complete
that's how
waste
they
of
get you
money.
when you're with kids too. Like I remember I'd bring, my oldest Barrington to Costco and he'd be like, yeah, I mean, these vegetables are good. So then you don't hear that from a 6-year-old at the time. So of course, you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go buy a whole
Yeah.
giant, a Costco sized bag. And now I get home with 15 pounds worth of frozen vegetables that he won't eat because they weren't as good as the ones at Costco.
Right.
And it's like, do I have to buy you the little paper plate, little paper sample things for you to eat them? Um, you told me they were the best thing ever, 20 minutes ago. Why wouldn't you eat them now? And then Chase, you've mentioned this one, and it's a big deal. Plan out your meals.
Yeah. This person really put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, maybe not like this.
That's
Although
not
this
good
is
for your cholesterol, but
not
boy,
good
does it
for
look tasty.
not good for a lot of things. But actually, if you budget friendly, it might be budget friendly in the short term. But that might have some additional expenses on the later in the
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
end of things. But plan out your meals. And maybe you can use and cross ingredients over. So like if you're gonna do, if you have like you need cilantro and avocados because you're gonna make guacamole, maybe you add 2 meals next to each other where you're gonna need guacamole night after night. So you can buy one little thing of cilantro and then split it, and or do chicken back to back nights, just not back to back to back to back nights, but and that way you can you kind of share the ingredients from one day to the other and limit your waste that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're a leftovers person, that's always a really smart thing to do. Is I always will cook a little extra chicken, dice it up, and then I can make something fun for lunch or
Yeah,
even the kids a quesadilla or something. So it can make that money go a lot further
exactly.
with making that food last.
And if you're venturing out to work or school and you have leftovers from the night before, guess what, that's lunch. That could save you a $10 fast food trip at your lunch at work or school because you have leftovers from yesterday.
Absolutely.
And you get into that habit, now you're saving $10 a day, and that's 5 work days a week. Maybe that's $50 a week. If you're spending $10 each day, that's $200 a month just by making a little extra dinner and then bringing your leftovers for lunch the next day at work.
Absolutely. Save a lot of money.
Yeah, it adds up. Try and find deals. Coupons, and in the days of cutting out coupons and putting them in a little thing,
Yeah, those days are
those
over.
days are over. You still have some cutout coupons here and there that my dad likes to use because he doesn't have a smartphone. He's still on that flip phone. But you can put your coupons a lot of times if the store has an app,
Absolutely.
and digitally add the coupons to your store app. And then when you go and you check out, whether you scan the phone or type in your phone number, all those coupons come into play. And save where you can. Now, don't go driving around across town for a 50-cent off coupon or going into an extra grocery store to try and save like on a 2-for-1, on cucumbers or something. But but if you have a coupon that's already at the store and look for them, try and find the deals. Get the store brand ones if that's going to give you a coupon.
And this takes us back to planning too,
It
right?
does.
You
Yeah.
can look at it the week before and it'll tell you what's coming up. And so you
Yeah.
can plan your meals around what's going to be on sale,
Yeah.
and you can stock up and make those way out ahead of time.
Yeah.
So it's really convenient when you can just take a couple minutes, look at those apps, and all those major food store chain stores now have those apps that'll show you what's going to go on sale when.
Absolutely. And it's easy. It's easier than cutting out and trying to
Oh
remember
yeah.
to bring them
And
and
put
all
them in the
that.
envelope, and then you're
Yeah.
going through.
And then
I
you're
mean,
sitting
come
there at
on,
the checkout.
we've all been there, right? You see the person pull out the envelope, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not getting behind that person.
Yeah. It's like overflowing with coupons. I know we've had one of our coworkers, it was a big couponer years back, and she'd end up with like tons of peanut butter, tons of toothpaste, tons of, and she doesn't do it anymore, Jillian.
But that's why those
but
coupons can get you in trouble too, is you
yeah,
can buy things that you don't really necessarily need
exactly.
or even want, but because it's $1.50 off or $2 off and you never see that, you'll buy it anyway.
Right.
But you're like,
It
well,
can
I'm
still
sure
get
glad I
you.
got those canned green beans.
Right. Go shopping early in the morning. There's less people. You're less likely to run into someone. But you're also more likely to have fully stocked shelves, fully stocked produce section, more of your choice of produce in the produce section. So, if you can, get out there early, and plus they have like the manager special sometimes that they put out from the night before, like, oh, we got to sell this chicken today because it's only good for a few more days, or we got to sell this piece of steak or whatever, and you might get 30% off or something like that, and those get put on at night. You go into the store, you're the first one in there, you get your picking, and those won't be there by the end of the day. So look into shopping early. Early bird gets the worm. If they're out of the item that's on sale, ask for a rain check. It's old school. You may not even never done it before, but it's still a thing. And the manager might be able to write you a thing. I kind of want to go and have it be out of something and ask them for a rain check just so I can see what one looks like. But you can get that sale item on your next trip at today's sale price. If you ask for a rain check and they write one up for you, and now you still get that savings, you don't miss out on it. You just have to wait till next trip. But have it be asked for one, and you might be the only person in the store asking for one, and it may take a while for them to figure out which employee is the one who writes them, because they probably don't write that many of them, but they're still a thing.
That's smart. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. And then the last one we have here, Meatless Monday. I know our Talk Wealth to Me co-host and content writer Katie is big on it's a great tip, Meatless Monday, and it doesn't have to be Monday, it could be Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. But there's a great blog on the DebtWave site there. Save money. Oftentimes the protein is the most expensive part of the meal. And so for the environment, for your health, or to save money, switch to Meatless Monday. I tried my first veggie burger last week. I joke that's why my internet broke. I was cooking up a veggie burger. But it might save you some money that way, and it could be healthier as well. Other ideas, we'd be happy to hear any ideas, any questions. Feel free to drop them in the chat. Also, we do have a podcast, and we've actually done a podcast episode on
it was a great episode.
Grocery shopping. It was a great episode. It was one of our first episodes. It was the 17th episode on the podcast. But it was how to cut your grocery bill in half and still eat well, featuring Steve and Annette Economides, sometimes referred to as America's
They
cheapest
came
family.
up with some of the most incredible ways to save money at a store. It's unreal.
Yeah, they really did, and it was a lot of fun recording it, and we learned a lot.
I think they say they're the self-proclaimed cheapest grocery shoppers on the planet, right?
Something like that, yeah. Any questions? All right, I think we got one here. My internet is, all right, let's see. Yes, the link to the podcast in the chat. Absolutely.
I can do that.
Perfect. And how can you save money buying organic? So yeah, if you have a specific dietary, whatever it is, a restriction or by choice, with organic, it's a lot similar to the same tips that you would do just in general. You just want to concentrate maybe on the stores that might specialize in organic foods. I don't know what part of like here, for example, we have something that would be like a Sprouts or Jimbo's, or places that will specialize more organics, and take the time to go through their ads and see what their sales are. You may want to avoid some of the bigger chains that maybe have organic options, but they may have just a limited selection, because that reduces the amount of options that you have. So if you can find a store in your local area that is more specialized, like again, here in Southern California or here in San Diego, we have Sprouts, Jimbo's, Trader Joe's, that have more specialized that, and they'll give you more options. And then more options means you have more ability to kind of price compare as you go. Yes, and we have some of the other tips that we got from Steve and Annette was to, when you go in and get your fruits and veggies, which kind of brings back to the organic, is look for the ones that are in season. Look for the ones, if it's strawberry season, you might be able to get a better deal on organic strawberries as opposed to when they're off season. Sometimes off season, they're shipping them from far away, and ships get stuck sideways places and deliveries get delayed and whatnot. So definitely look for what's in season when it comes to those fruits and veggies. There's $1 bags of older produce. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, the older bag of if you have produce, sometimes they put them in a little bag because they're trying to get rid of them, and I get them out the door much faster, and it's less expensive. Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, $1 for 15 zucchinis. That's really good. And you could throw those in the air fryer and make little chips out of it. But that's I haven't done it, but I saw the recipe for it and it looked good. So yeah, look for the deals on veggies and things like that. What are some ways to save? Again, if you're looking to save on specific diet items, you really want to try and find a store that may cater more towards those items if they're specific, and see what you can find. And don't be afraid to venture out into maybe another store that's new in your area from time to time. Maybe they're and maybe they won't be the cheapest for a long time, but maybe they're just trying to get into your market and they may have the better deals now. So you can kind of venture in there. I know, like, for example, out here in San Diego, a couple of years back, we got Aldi, and that was like, whoa, this is new. And they did have keto and gluten-free and that kind of item options.
Yeah, they have it. They look very similar as the other brands,
Yeah.
but they're not the same brands.
It's not the same brand, but the color scheme and the
Yeah.
layout is very similar. So
Very similar.
and then the taste is similar as well. So you could save some money going that route when you can buy the generic item or the store brand item. Try and do so. Whether that be spaghetti sauce or canned fruits or whatever it is.
Well, fruits and vegetables, when they're in season too, especially organically, they tend to have better deals.
Yeah.
During that time because they're more plentiful.
Another thing, if you're looking for budget friendly meal ideas, look at places like Pinterest, Instagram, those tasty videos.
Those things kill me though, because I want to make those and they're never as easy as they make it look.
No, they make it perfectly. Their kitchen, the area is always perfect and everything lines up perfectly. And then it says, like, most recipes, prep time 10 minutes, cook time 15, total 25. And then you're an hour into it, it looks nothing like the picture, and you're like, you were lying to me.
Yeah.
All right, and we have
it's kind of like IKEA furniture. They say it's very simple to put together, but it never is.
And it's just like build time 1 hour, and then you're sitting there like trying to hold a flashlight because
you're like, why do I have 4 screws left over?
Right, always have to. When you build an IKEA thing, it's like, hey, I only have one extra screw. I think I did good. Karen has another great tip. Try like the cultural ethnic grocery stores. So they're hyper more focused because they have sometimes cheaper meats or different cuts that you're not maybe time to experiment. Visit the butcher desk or the butcher counter and talk to the butcher and get ideas. Here's what I'm looking to do. What do you recommend? And they may be able to make a specialized cut for you, and sometimes for the same price as the packaged stuff that's been sitting in the fridge for a couple days. Plus, you can venture out and try new foods. I remember a while back, Chase, we went to a Northgate, which is a Mexican Latin food store. And Chase is like, oh, this is so cool.
This is amazing. Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Because you get to make carne asada tacos different than you would from,
Yeah.
your regular chain. So,
And the prices were good.
yeah. So yeah, absolutely. That's another great tip. Thank you, Karen. Any other questions? This is great. Thank you everybody for interacting. It makes it so much more fun for us. So hopefully you guys, Chase dropped the link for the podcast there. And then if you're around in 2 weeks to join us for the next one, oh man,
that would be cutting it very close on a regular year. But since we did get the extension to May 17th,
yeah,
we're going to be about a month early, but this is a good one.
We're going to be around tax day, the traditional tax day. And many people have already gotten their taxes in, and maybe if they're getting a return, gotten that. Although I think I was told they're behind. I don't know how far behind they are.
Yeah.
With the stimulus.
Still a good idea to get it in as much as you can.
Yeah.
As quickly as you can.
Yeah. You don't want to wait till the last minute. It gets more crowded. You might not be able, what if you don't get an appointment right at the end? So you can get them done now. It's going to be the same outcome whether you do them today or you do them a month from now, when you're stressing about it. So yeah, unless you file an extension, tax day is coming up. But what to do with your tax return if you receive a tax return, or maybe you're still waiting on that third stimulus check and you get that stimulus check, what should you do with that? Some good ideas or some tips on things to
because it sounds like you're going to be taxed on this third round.
That is what we've been, what I've been seeing. So
yes,
you want to save some of that.
I have confirmed that with our resident CPA. So
there you go.
All right. Well, this was fun, Phil. I'm glad everybody joined us. I hope that you guys learned a little bit and had some fun as well. And thank you for your participation. It was great.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone here and on Facebook. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
All righty.